I'll go with our, this old can.
And this is not a spring chicken today. We're going to talk about something that is near and dear to many people. Some of you think, I can live without that. Well,
No, you can't.
you can't. And what we're talking about is...
Salt.
Yes.
And like I said, according to the Salt Institute, and yes, there is a Salt Institute, so I think it's saltinstitute.com, there are 14,000 ways of using salt. And that's probably, and they're gathering, God, you don't want to go to Salt Institute though, because it's one way on every, I think they got like 14,000 individual items.
Well, you know, part of it is salt is used in many ways. I mean, most of us are familiar with cooking,
Yeah.
right? So, oh gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna, but there's it's gonna be cooking, ice cream, can't make ice cream without salt. There's a cooking plate for you right there.
This is a salt block.
Yeah, you sit there and basically heat that salt up and put your food on the top of it, like stir fries, like sushi and all that stuff is basically good, because this is a really good salt block too, so we should probably put the salt block in a container to keep it from shriveling away.
I know, I'm sitting there looking at it. It used to be totally level before. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, we're probably
it's
going to
just
have to put it
exposed
in
to
a
the air.
case. Yeah, because it basically tends to draw all the moisture in. But you can put this on top of something, heat it up, put your food on the top and cook your food with it. And you get all your salt right off of that. So it really, we've seen it work.
You can also heat this up and serve things on it.
Yeah.
It is a salt plate.
Yeah.
I've also seen them use that where you put your feet on it, you draw the impurities out of it.
Yeah, we've seen it. You put
Although
they heat this up, then they put it inside of a thing, and you can set your. It basically does work quite well.
And they say it's antibacterial, but I don't know if I'd want to eat off of something I put my feet on, even though if it is antibacterial.
It's supposed to be. Well, salt kills anything. That's the trick. Is though you supposedly can, but there's two different type of things. The feet block is bigger than this one. This is just this size, and it basically is getting warped from. You need to put that in a container.
I know. I just realized that because we just have it sitting on the
it's
counter.
no longer flat, but. Basically, like the salt website has lots of handy tips for using salt around the house, and basically, for thousands of years, salt, which is sodium chloride, has been used to preserve food and for cleaning, and people have continued to rely on it for all kinds of nifty tricks.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And part of it is a lot of people are thinking it's bad because, you want things that are low sodium or there's too much sodium in it, right?
But that's because you can't have canned stuff without sodium, folks. Let's see. Basically, it's non-toxic, and it's an endlessly abundant resource. The ocean is full of it. And the ocean, basically, the salt is actually the ocean is full of it because it's leached from the ground out into the water.
Oh, is that what it
The
does?
salt actually comes from the land. The salt that you have in the ocean originally was washed out from the land into the water. That's how. I think originally all water was fresh water. But as the storms deteriorated all of the mountainside, because salt is abundance in everything in this world.
Yeah, here's another one, Hawaiian deep sea salt.
Yeah, I have salt basically. It's got a spicy salt, and I have garlic salt, and there's so many different types of salt. It's unbelievable. Basically some of the uses in the kitchen.
Yes. On your food?
Yeah, besides the salt performs in terms of baking chemistry and food flavor, salt has a number of other applications in the kitchen, which I hadn't, some of these things I really
see, some of these things you might not have known. Like one of the things that you could test your egg freshness with salt.
I like that. Put 2 teaspoons of salt in a cup of water and place an egg in it. A fresh egg, that one I do know. A fresh egg will sink, an older egg will float. That one I do know. I do remember my grandmother doing that trick. That's an old, I thought it was just something that she was playing magic with. No, I do remember, God, you understand how old I am, how long ago that was, when my grandmother would pull that stuff on the kids. Magic, she'd do it.
Really?
Yeah, she'd make one egg sink and the other egg float. So I do remember that now. Boy, see, you're never too old to learn when your older people in your family were messing with your mind.
And so the fresh egg sinks.
Yeah, and the older egg floats.
Okay.
Basically, that's because the air cell in the egg increases as it ages and the older egg is more buoyant. A good one. This doesn't mean a floating egg is rotten, just mature. Crack the egg into a bowl and examine it for any funky odor or appearance. If it's rotten, it was rotten, you'll know it.
Yeah, you'll smell it.
Basically, if have hard-boiled eggs are difficult to peel, that means they are fresh.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Oh, and this one I did know.
Which one?
Setting poached eggs.
What? How do you set a poached egg?
Yeah.
What do you sprinkle salt on it?
Yeah. The salt increases the temperature of boiling water, which is why when I cook, I put salt in the water.
Yeah.
Because I always add a little salt to when I'm cooking, because it does increase, it causes just
Does
like...
it boil faster?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's
yeah.
a good point.
It basically, it helps to set the whites more quickly when eggs are dropped into water for poaching, prevents fruits from browning, yeah.
Oh, you mean...
That's what some of that sodium stuff that we have for,
I
it's got salt in it, yeah, that we use it for our drying and stuff, so. Here, that's it, right there.
It says fruit fresh.
Yeah, it's probably got salt in it, you can read that. Yeah, sodium,
Sodium.
yeah, 0% sodium, this is basically the citric acid. But you can do it without that. People that are allergic to this are getting a salt one, I bet. They're getting a salt bath, because that's citric acid there.
Okay.
Basically, it shells nuts more easily. Well, yeah.
I didn't... Wait a minute, how does it shell a nut?
Because you soak the pecans and walnuts in salt water for several hours before shelling it to make it easier to remove the meat. It basically softens the nut up.
I've never
So
heard
when
that
you broke
before.
it, yeah, I know.
So the salt in the water, it's not just the water.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you could do something that it would make a difference.
Yeah, and okay, here's one. Salted peanuts. You know how you get salted peanuts? They take the peanut shell. Basically, is indestructible. It's God's armor. You take and put the peanuts in a great big vat of salt water and let them soak for about a week to a month, and then you drain them off and let them dry, and you've got salted peanuts.
Yeah.
That's right, that's the shells. Inside, it never gets to the inside unless there's a crack in the peanut shell, but the salted peanut shells. So that's how you do it. So really good stuff. You like
Why
that.
do you want to salt the peanut shell?
Because people like to suck on the
Oh, they
shells.
do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's what I do. I sat there, I got a bag of
I
salt.
didn't know people did that. I never did that.
She comes from basically she lived a very sheltered life. You know that she was in a nunnery until she was 21 years old? Right.
No.
She'd never seen a guy until she was 19. Oh well.
No.
Actually, basically, yeah. A little salt added to cake icing prevents them from sugaring. Yeah, that's an old baker's trick.
You can remove the odor from your hands. In fact, I happen to have
We have salt balls.
I have a salt ball that I keep in my purse.
Yeah. My
that I
salt
could
ball is starting to
clean
shrink
off.
too, so.
Mine is too. We might have to go to the salt place again.
Yeah, get some new salt balls. We've had them for a couple of years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
And remember, you got that for your one nephew. You bought the salt light for him.
Yep. I like that salt light. I wanted to get one for me too.
It's used as a dehumidifier in the room. You know, it's got light, but when it heats up, it also takes all the humidity out of the air. I didn't know something like that when I was younger. I got it from one of my relatives. Here's got okay, basically oniony, garlicky fingers. Basically, but you can also rub your fingers with salt and a vinegar combo, and it helps to get rid of that garlicky smell. You know, add salt to the vinegar, and you just do like that too. That if you don't have a salt ball.
Yeah, but I thought what was interesting is they had you take this and you put it in soapy water, and then you rub it on stainless steel.
Yeah.
Anything made of stainless steel.
Yeah. Well, here's one too. You know that how they get the chiffon type. You know, like you have a whipped cream
You just
top.
add a pinch of salt.
A pinch of salt to it, and it beats up, and it makes those little peaks that you see on top of
That's what
the
makes the
cakes.
peaks.
That's
I
how
thought
it
it
makes
was
the
the
peaks.
whipping.
No, they said basically high peaks. Yeah, you add a pinch of salt when beating an egg whites or whipping cream for higher peaks. Add a tiny pinch of salt when beating. Extend cheese life, which I do know. You prevent mold by wrapping in a cloth moistened with salt water before refrigerating. That's basically
Really?
that's why.
But I thought you wanted cheese to get moldy.
Well, no, it's something if you don't want mold. Mold is good for you actually. It's health. That's where penicillin comes from. So, but a lot of people what they do is they'll soak the cheese balls or cheese pieces in brine water and then set them away because it does help to prevent the molding from happening when they're in storage
It's the brine water.
because you want them to age, a lot of age. I mean, I really, age cheddar.
I feel like we're listening to like the Farmer's Almanac or something.
Yeah.
These are all those things that they used to do that people don't even think about now.
Yeah, here's one.
Because now you just buy it like
This is for your oven, which most people that really cook. If a pie or casserole bowls over the oven, put a handful of salt on top of the spill.
Really?
Yeah, it will bake into a crust that basically comes off easier. That's what I learned because my mother basically was a pastry cook.
Wait, you put it on, so wherever it
No,
falls
wherever it spills, you take some salt and put it on it immediately. Because what would happen was we would, she would make a lot of, we love
I never knew
apple.
that. That would have helped me many
No,
years.
but if you're cooking something that you know is going to boil over, which you often do, there's not enough room to put the pans in there underneath the trays, so
I always just put a pan on it with foil and then you take it off.
yeah, but sometimes you don't have that luxury
Oh.
because you need to cooking as many things as you can in there at one time, like for holidays.
Um,
So basically you got the oven filled full, and you know they're going to boil over. You're cooking cherry pies, peach cobbler, apple cobbler, the stuff tend to boil over. So what my mother would do, she'd reach in and then just toss salt on all of the liquid that was in there, and then when it was done, she'd take a spatula and go like that, and it'd come off. So that's an old one. Here's one. This is the personal care. Some of this stuff, though, I went through this. God, I mean, okay, the problem is, you will go nuts at their website. Because it divided into so many god-awful sections. Each section had a subsection, which had a subsection, which had a subsection. You don't want to keep adding things.
Oh. Well, part of it is I'm always known for personal care because I always think like whenever, like you've got a sore throat,
Yeah.
okay, or when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, they say, oh, rinse your mouth out with salt water.
Or
Right.
if you do the old pulling of your teeth, which I do, you sit there and go get warm water and add salt to it, and you gargle with that, it will stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
But this one though, use 1 part fine salt to 2 parts baking soda. Dip your toothbrush in the mix and brush as usual.
Really? So what does that do?
It cleans your teeth.
Oh, so this is when you run out of toothpaste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
And you can use it with baking soda too.
Yeah, with 1 part salt and a baking soda.
And 2 parts baking soda?
Yeah. You soak toothbrushes in salt water before you first use it. They'll last longer. How about actually rinsing your mouth? We've already done that. Ease mouth problems. Rinse your mouth with a weak solution of salt water several times.
Now what I didn't know is relieve bee sting pain. I don't get stung by bees. I'm usually not around them. Knock on
Oh God, they really.
wood.
I mean, that gets smart.
I'm not usually around them.
Immediately damp an area and pack on a small pile of salt to reduce the pain and swelling. Most bee sting tips. Basically, that's what we do. Is it because we used to grow lots of fruits and stuff, and you can't reach in without some moronic bee giving his life for the fruit that he can't fertilize anyway because it's fruit. They just do the flowers, and basically you pull the stinger out and then put salt on top of it, and it reduced the swelling immediately.
Do you think part of this is because of the antibacterial qualities?
Because nothing can live in salt.
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. We got.
So you can use it to do besides bee stings. You can use it to treat mosquito bites
Yeah.
as well as poison ivy.
Yeah. Basically with mosquito bite itch, basically that itching, that stuff. You don't have the calamine lotion. You don't have the baking soda works the same way. You sit there and rub it with salt water, and it basically helps it. Because what it's doing, it puts sort of a cake over the top.
And a lot of women are familiar with bath salts that they put in the bathtub to help you soak. But not only can you use it as bath salts for soaking, you can also use it for exfoliating. Sometimes exfoliating is done, while you're in the bathtub or in the shower, or sometimes it's done as a dry exfoliant.
Yeah, well,
So that kind of depends on you.
It's actually also good for. It's better for women to have Epsom salt and all those. Why do you think they have all of these fancy salt baths for women?
Why?
Because a woman is built different than a guy. And
And?
basically it helps clean out, it helps to sanitize their entire body, inside and out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Basically it works that way. It kills unpleasant odors, it kills all sorts of things on a female.